This time around, we're going to take a look at some of the cool hidden administrator settings that, to be quite frank, you simply have to know. So if you're ready to learn, stay tuned. Greetings my fellow YouTubers, welcome back to the channel. Andy Malone, Microsoft MVP, as well as a Microsoft certified trainer. First of all, this week I gotta tell you, you guys are an absolute bunch of stars. Absolutely. You helped me achieve 10K. We hit that button, guys. I really do appreciate it. As you know, I'm really trying to build out a great educational channel here. So your help and your support are, absolutely so important to me. Okay, now if you've not subscribed, then please do, of course, help the channel support me by go ahead, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and you won't miss out on future tutorials. And if you enjoy the video, please bump that like button up there. It really does make a difference. All right, so on this week's episode, I thought what I would do is take a look at some of those hidden and secret admin settings that lie beneath Microsoft 365 and its associated suite of products, as well as Azure AD. And there's quite a few cool new features in there as well. I think you might enjoy this session and you're definitely going to learn something. All right. Now, if you've got any questions, any comments about this, of course, about any of my other sessions, then please just do get them down below and I'll answer those questions for you. All right. So without any more jibber jabber, I think it's time for some demos, don't you? So I'm kicking off my demo today. I'm going to come into the Azure AD Admin Center. And first up, I just want to mention a number of public previews that you may be interested in. Now, public previews are, of course, really useful. If you just go into Azure Active Directory here, and there is not only a What's New tab, but there's also a whole bunch of different preview features here. And you can go ahead and you can switch these on. And Microsoft, of course, also has a number of private previews that you can apply for as well. So here in the main portal here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to my gear icon. And another feature that you may have missed is the portal settings. Now here on the first tab here is your directories and your various subscriptions. And this is a fantastic way not only to favorite a particular tenant, but also to quickly switch between tenants as well. The other thing that you can also switch on here are advanced filters. And this is particularly useful if you're working with hundreds of tenants and you want to filter them for subscription ID or organization or tenant begins with or ends with, and you can filter those and very quickly jump to that particular tenant. The other one here is the Appearance and Startup View page, and this is a great way of customizing your Azure AD. So for example, if you want something a little less bright on the eyes, you might want to switch to dark mode, and there's a number of different options here as well. Now, in addition to that, you can also choose your different language and your region. So this tenant is based in the United States. So you can see I've set it up, but very easy to change your default languages here. A lot of people get stuck by that one, by the way. In terms of your information, you can put in your email address here. And this is if you've got trouble with, for example, directory sync or things like that. You can then get technical support messages through that. Very interesting tab, and it's amazing how many people miss this tab, is the signing out and notifications tab. So enable Active Directory timeouts, and timeouts, it will automatically log you out after so many hours or minutes. This is really useful. The worst thing that you want to do is walk away from a workstation or a portal and leave it open. All right. And again, you can also override that based on a particular policy. This is particularly useful for admins as well. And also if you want to enable notifications. All right. So there you go. That's just some of the portal settings. Now, the other mention I just wanted to say here is that this is super important here. So TLS, Transport Layer Security, or as we all know it, SSL, Secure Sockets Layer. So Secure Sockets Layer uses TLS 1.3, so it's really important that you ensure that you've updated to the latest digital certificate here. All right. On the subject of public previews, Microsoft recently purchased CloudKnox, and they have a fantastic permissions management platform. And this is a public preview that you can sign up for, and it gives you 120 days of access. Now, Microsoft are going to be releasing this a little bit later on in the year, and they're going to be integrating it tightly into Azure AD. So definitely take a look at that. I'm not going to demo this today because I'm going to do a dedicated session on this in the next couple of weeks. So watch out for that. So continuing with our journey into Azure AD, I'm going to come here into conditional access. Now, conditional access at the moment is going through a lot of changes actually. And primarily, currently in public preview, you can now create conditional access policies from templates. And these can be based both on identities, but also devices as well. So if I select identities here and click on next, you can see that we have rather a large number of templates, and this is currently growing as well. So for example, require multi-factor authentication for guest user access. All right, so you can go in and you can view the policy details. And the interesting thing here is that the policy is given a number. And if you number your conditional access policies, then it will run them in a specific order. So do you want to go ahead and switch this on? Do you want to put it into reporting mode only, which is a kind of a try before you buy type scenario? Or do you want to switch the policy state off? For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to switch it on to report mode only. So I can scroll down here, you can see you can get a review of this policy, and I can now go ahead, and this will affect all guest users. So it's requiring multi-factor authentication for all our users, and you can see any of the policies with numbers here, it puts in a policy code, and this is awesome, by the way. Okay, so the second of the features can be found if I actually go into the policy here. So I'm going to scroll into the policy, and I'm going to talk about the different conditions. And something that Microsoft is definitely playing with is this filter for devices, these dynamic conditional rules. So you can come in here and you can configure things like filtered device policies. You can either include them or exclude them. And just like dynamic groups, you can also now set conditional policies based on dynamic rules. So for example, if the user is using a specific manufacturer, so for example, if the manufacturer equals with, let's say, HP. So again, and you could then say and or includes model 1017. You get the idea. So you can do very cool dynamic conditional access policies based on devices. And to be honest, this is just the beginning. Over the next few months, you're going to see some amazing changes here in conditional access. So up next, here I am in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and I'm going to come down here into my settings and organizational settings. Now, this is an area that's had an awful lot of changes and updates. So these are just some of them. First up, Azure Speech Services. Now, I'm sure we're all using Google Home or Amazon Alexa or Siri, and you're familiar with those types of interfaces. However, do you want to use them with Microsoft 365? So again, this feature will then switch on the speech services so that you can use them to schedule appointments and bookings and all kinds of stuff using your favorite device. So that's a great feature to go ahead and switch on. Okay, other things which are quite useful is the daily briefing email from Microsoft Viva. I don't know if you've not signed up for this, but definitely go ahead and sign up for this. This is really quite useful, and all your users will receive updates about what their schedule is. So for example, what meetings the users got to do today and so on. Now, some of these are fairly new. These features are fairly new, and Microsoft love your feedback. So if you get a screen like this, go ahead and click it and let Microsoft know what you think, because they really do appreciate it. Now, other things that, again, just scrolling down here, that I wanted to draw your attention to is, if I just scroll down a little bit, this is modern authentication. Now, I've spoken about this before, but again, I just want to reiterate how important this is. So modern authentication is for the OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect protocols. And these are modern authentication protocols that allow you to do multi-factor authentication, just to name a few things. And it's really important that older clients, so if you're using older technologies like this, then you definitely want to go ahead and switch these off. Okay. Obviously, if you're using Active Sync on premises or something like that, then that's fine. But again, you know, definitely these older protocols, you definitely want to switch those off. Because that could be a serious security flaw, and it actually bypasses multi-factor authentication. So modern authentication, definitely check that out. Another thing that can potentially affect security as well is this: user consent for apps. So if you've ever tried to access a service and you've had a pop-up that says, hey, do you want to use your Microsoft account to access this? And you can click a little checkbox that says, yes, I accept it on behalf of the organization. And for the most cases, this is absolutely fine. But if you want to control this or restrict this, so for example, just make it an admin only feature, you can remove that checkbox there. Further configuration on this can actually be done in Azure Active Directory. And I did a recent video on this, so please go ahead and check that out. All right. Another thing that you may want to control is the user-owned apps and services. So do you want your users accessing and downloading apps from the App Store, the Microsoft Store, or do you want, again, a little bit more control with that? Do you want users to be able to start trials on behalf of the organization? Again, that's something you might want to switch off, and you might want to make that an admin user. Again, let users claim auto-claim licenses. So this is quite useful if you purchase software. Again, certain types of software, users can claim a license and it can be processed automatically without the use or intervention of an administrator. Again, it depends on your own, I suppose, security policy. All right, so that, again, those are just some of those settings here. So as I said, definitely go ahead and check some of those out. They're super, super useful. Now, I also just wanted to mention a quick new feature that's now part of Microsoft Teams and Groups. Now I've gone ahead and I've just gone and created a group here. And this is a Microsoft 365 group. And as you know, it can easily be extended to become a Microsoft team if I wanted it to be. Couple of things, the interface is slightly changing. So if I click on to settings, you'll notice that this is a private team. One of the things that you can do with a private team is you can add administrator roles. So for example, I could then assign this group to be an Exchange admin or a Teams admin or something like that. Please note that this feature only works with private groups, not public groups. All right. The other thing that you've noticed as well is that this is normally done in SharePoint Online, but you can now set a sharing level. And indeed, this is my default tenant setting here. So I'm blocking anyone from sharing content. That means anonymous users from sharing their content. And this is now my default settings. Now, if you want to change this, you need to go in and change those settings in SharePoint Online. But it's really nice to see the interface coming through here. Now, as you know, Microsoft loves to change names of products, and recently we're getting a whole spate of name changes, and I just wanted to mention some of those. So for example, if I go into groups in Microsoft 365 and also in Exchange Online, you can still see that we've got the different types of groups here. Specifically something called distribution lists, and we've had distribution lists ever since Exchange was formed all those years ago. This is currently going through a name change, so distribution lists are now called contact groups. All right, that's just the first thing. Now, hidden things. Okay, something cool. Andy, tell me something really cool. Now, I recently did a video on Exchange Online mail flow, and if you've not had a chance to see that, then go ahead and check that video out. I think you'll find it quite useful. But interestingly enough, a secret setting, if you scroll down here into the settings page, we have a mail flow tab here. And here we have something called turn off plus addressing for your organization. Now what is plus addressing? Well, quite frankly, plus addressing is this. Essentially, it's email used in mailing campaigns for example, one-off mailing campaigns, disposable mail. And we've seen an absolute massive number of these companies. So they will just quickly generate an email address for you that you can use once. Yes. So for example, you just want to let's say you're going to a conference and somebody asks you for your email address. Great. You can give out this email address and it's just for that conference. So, and it will save clogging up your mail. Now, of course, this is a fantastic tool, but potentially it could also be misused as well. So definitely check out this enabling or disabling plus addressing. And you can control that through the mail flow settings here as well. Other things that we've got here as well, again, prevent things like storm protection, mail storm protection. So again, you can limit the number of emails that you get back, and that kind of eases the burden of, or reduces the chance of spam, I should say. So definitely check that out. That is something definitely worth looking at if mail flow is important to you. So there you have it, just some of those hidden secret features within Microsoft 365 and Azure AD. Hey, listen, if you enjoyed that, go ahead, bump that like button. It really does help my channel. And if you have not subscribed, then please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and you won't miss out on future tutorials. Remember, Everything here is free. I want you to learn as much as possible, so please go and spread the love and share this with other folks. Okay, that's it for this week. I'm off to Oslo for some work, but you stay safe and I'll see you next time. All right, take care. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy, and while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.